Today we are talking about 7 vocalizations that you need to know that are locator calls to help figure out where that gobbler is. It is going to get him to shot gobble, it's going to get him to gobble on the limb, it's going to get him to say, I'm over here, while you can not identify that you are a hunter. These are things that you're going to hear naturally in the spring, but that you can do yourself to locate those gobblers. Let's dive in. The very first one, and my favorite, is going to be the owl hoot. The owl hoot is typically going to be the very first thing that you hear in the morning that is going to get that gobbler hammering on the limb. This is usually going to come from a barred owl. So it's going to be the who cooks for you, who cooks for you all. And so you can hear that here in this video. But what you're going to hear is you're going to hear these vocalizations, and then that tom 9 times out of 10 in the spring is going to start gobbling and saying, hey, I am over here. If you can mimic this when you go out into the woods, what you're going to have the ability to do is first thing in the morning is you're going to have the ability to locate that turkey, but you're not going to allow him to identify that you are a hen, which can then lead to you being a hunter because he knows where he put his hens to bed last night. And then you're saying, hey, I'm a hen over here. And he's like, who the heck is that? And he's like, oh, that's that guy that always comes from that same direction and makes that same call every spring. And so you can use an owl locator call to be able to get him to gobble, to make that move on him and hopefully end up with him at the end of your barrel. The second locator call is going to be the crow call. Now, I want you to pay specific attention to what I'm about to say because this is going to be very important. The locator call for a crow needs to be non-intrusive, non-threatening, non-alerting. And so there's crow calls that you can do that say, oh my gosh, I'm in distress, there's a hawk, there's something, there's a predator. And then there's ones that just say, yo, what's up? I'm over here. And then the other crows are like, yeah, I hear you over there. That's the kind of calls that you want. You don't want to be doing all kind of crazy crow calling to get him to gobble, and then it ends up leading to him thinking that there's some kind of threat in the direction that you want him to come. So you can listen to these crow vocalizations that we provided in the video to let you know what is safe and then what is something that you should probably stand against. Now, however, these are going to be used mid-morning to maybe late afternoon or midday. Now, you can use more threatening ones, the more worked up ones later in the day just to get them to shot gobble, anything to kind of get them to locate where they're at. But you want to always start with just those locator crow calls in the beginning. One of my favorite calls is number 3, which is the Coyote Howl. And so this right here is going to be the very first at sunrise or at sunset. So early morning, late evening, when you're trying to get them to gobble on the roost and say where they're at. If you've ever watched any of Shane Simpson's videos, he does a lot of coyote howling as well as other turkey hunters that are out there. That is going to be something that's really sharp, it's really crisp, and it carries a very long way. You would think that when they hear that howl, it would scare them, they wouldn't want to come your direction, but in my experience, it hasn't hurt my hunting either way. Now, I'm going to get 100 yards from his roost area and keep howling? No, I'm going to change the call strategy at that point, but it is a really good locator call that you can use to identify just the general area of where a gobbler's at in the morning time or roosted in the evening for the next morning. The fourth locator call is going to be a woodpecker. So a woodpecker is something that not a lot of hunters are going to use. So that is something that you can use to your advantage, especially on pressured public land. If you are trying to figure out where a gobbler is, you're trying to get him to shot gobble, but you're not wanting to sound like every other hunter that's coming to the woods, you should try the woodpecker call. This can be mimicked on your normal locator calls for crows, or even sometimes on a hawk call, depending on how it is made. So go ahead and practice that before you get out there. Use that woodpecker call, and a lot of times you're going to get that shot gobble out of them. Probably my least favorite is number 5, which is the hawk screech. And it's my least favorite, not because it doesn't work, it's because it hurts my own ears. So it's a really high-pitched screech that you can do. You can do a single loud long note, or you can do a few in a certain rhythm. But the hawk screech is going to be something that will get them to shock, but you better have your ears prepared for it. The sixth vocalization for a locator call is going to be the goose honk. So if you are a waterfowl hunter, you've been goose hunting, you might have one of these calls, but if not, you might want to pick one up. I cannot tell you how many times, either first thing in the morning or midday, these geese light up out of a pond, or they're coming in to land in a field, and they are honking their heads off, and every time they are honking, the tom is just gobbling on the roost like a crazy man, or he's down in a field and he's gobbling. And so that is one thing that you are going to hear that will surprise you when they gobble. And then number 7, again, I don't know. But number 7 is going to be all the sounds that you think are going to be crazy but will get them to gobble. Number 1 is going to be a train horn. Number 2 is going to be an air horn. Number 3 is going to be a car door slam too loud. Number 4 is going to be a piece of tin that's blowing in the wind. Number 5 is actually something that you may have never experienced because it's rare, but I have one turkey location where these cranes have this giant nest in a pine tree, and they make all kinds of god-awful dinosaur noises is what it sounds like up in the tree, and it gets the turkeys gobbling every single time. So there's a lot of really strange things that are out there that can get them to gobble, but one of the most interesting calls that I have ever heard is going to be the train horn or the air horn. Now, what was really funny, just a little bit of story time here on the Locator Call episode, is one time we were at the hunting club, and I had not been to a lot of hunting clubs before, and we were turkey hunting, and there's a lot of pressure on this specific hunting club. Well, while we were sitting there, it's April, it's really windy, there was this one piece of tin on the roof. It was just flapping up and down, and it was making this popping noise. Well, it started popping, and all of a sudden, it's like 10 a.m. We're like, man, is that a turkey gobbling? And me and my friend are trying to figure out what it was, and it's like, oh my gosh, it is. It sounds like it's coming into the tin. Every time that tin popped, it started getting closer and closer. So my buddy, who's never killed a turkey, and me, who maybe had only killed 3 or 4 at that point, we go sit down by that shed. That turkey came all the way in. We never made a peep. He died off of a piece of tin blowing in the wind. So these locator calls can work in the most mysterious ways, but I hope this has made you more equipped, more ready for the spring. If you're already in your season and you're struggling with success, I hope that this helps you. If you need to grab any of these locator calls, we have several of them in our store at reviveoutdoors.org. So you can go on the website. As always, we have that discount code available for you as a thank you from our audience. But if you have any questions, I want you to put those in the comments. Make sure that you get the answers that you need, because we all know that there's beginners, there's intermediate, there's experienced turkey hunters on the page, and we can all help one another out. But we hope this helps you. We hope it puts that gobbler at the end of your barrel. We hope that it allows you to locate those gobblers without giving your position away, so you can hopefully maneuver around and get them at the end of your gun barrel. I want you to remember, aim at the base of the neck, make a good shot. Good luck this season. We'll see you on the next one.